most people don't get the chance to change history once. Joan Laporta might be doing it twice. First in 2003, then again in 2021, he took over a broken Barcelona and started building something that looked impossible. From the golden days of Ronaldinho to the desperate post-Messi crisis, Laporta's story is tied to Barca's fate like no other. In both eras, the club was in crisis. He took massive risks and chased greatness with boldness few club presidents ever dared to show. This is the story of Joan Laporta, the man rebuilding Barcelona not just once but twice. From financial collapse to football dominance, let's dive into the legacy, controversies, and bold vision of Barcelona's most iconic president. When Joan Laporta returned as FC Barcelona president in 2021, he walked into a disaster zone. The club was over 1.35 billion euros in debt, Messi's contract had expired, and La Liga's salary cap rules left no room to maneuver. Laporta promised to renew Messi, but when the time came, the numbers didn't add up. Keeping Messi would have cost the club around 100 million euros per year, something Laporta knew was not sustainable. And so, against every emotional pull, he let him go. To many fans, it felt like betrayal, but to Laporta, it was a sacrifice for the long term. He sees FC Barcelona as bigger than any player, even their greatest legend. This mindset would shape everything that came after. The financial rebuild began aggressively. Laporta activated what he called economic levers, selling 25% of the club's La Liga TV rights to 6th Street for 582 million euros and nearly 50% of Barca licensing and merchandising for another 200 to 300 million euros. Critics said he was mortgaging the future to save the present. But Laporta saw no other way. He also secured a historic 280 million euro sponsorship deal with Spotify. This included shirt sponsorship, training kits, and renaming the iconic Camp Nou to Spotify Camp Now. The deal was controversial but vital, but that wasn't all. In November 2024, Barca struck a record-shattering deal with Nike, a 14-year extension worth around 1.7 billion euros. That's 127 million euros per season, plus a 158 million euro signing bonus spread over the contract. It stabilized Barca's balance sheet and signaled a new era. On the pitch, Laporta backed club legend Xavi as manager. Under Xavi's leadership, Barcelona returned to the top of La Liga in 2023, winning their first league title since 2019. The success was rooted in a new generation: Pedri, Gavi, Lamine Yamal, and Cubarsí. These young stars from La Masia embodied the club's identity. Youth and defense became the new cornerstones. But Laporta was not afraid to make tough calls. When Xavi publicly admitted he did not believe Barcelona could compete with Real Madrid financially, Laporta showed him the door. The club needed belief, not excuses. In came Hansi Flick, a tactician focused less on politics and more on football. With Flick at the helm, Barcelona won a second La Liga title during Laporta's second term, his 8th overall as president. Still, not everything was smooth. Barca struggled in Europe. They crashed out early in the Champions League multiple times and have not won the competition since 2015. Even Messi could not change that. The reputation took a hit, and so did the revenue. Laporta's reliance on economic levers brought breathing room but also risk. Selling future revenue for present stability is a dangerous game, especially for a club that once prided itself on organic growth. Still, Joan Laporta has restored competitiveness, stabilized finances, and revived La Masia's heartbeat. To truly understand Laporta's comeback, you have to rewind to where it all started. In 2003, Barcelona hadn't won a single trophy since 1999. The club was drowning in chaos. Then came Laporta, a 41-year-old lawyer with no footballing background but with charisma, ambition, and a dream to make Barcelona the best club in the world. His campaign was loud, bold, and hopeful. Even though Beckham never came, Laporta did win, and with him came a new era. Laporta hired Frank Rijkaard and made a defining signing in Ronaldinho. Add Deco and Samuel Eto'o to the mix. With flair, joy, and samba magic, suddenly, Barça became electric. They won La Liga in 2005 and 2006. Then came the crown jewel, the 2006 Champions League in Paris. But Laporta wasn't finished. In 2008, he made one of the boldest moves in football history by promoting Pep Guardiola from the B team to manage the first team. The decision sparked the most dominant football era the world had ever seen. Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, the tiki-taka era. In 2009, Barca won the sextuple every competition they entered. Off the pitch, Laporta expanded the club's global image. He signed a historic deal with UNICEF, donating 1.5 million euros annually and putting their logo on the shirt. It wasn't just branding, it was a statement of values. He also laid down the foundation for La Masia's explosion. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets all developed and promoted under his watch. The DNA of Barcelona was defined in this period, and Laporta was its architect. After Laporta's first term ended in 2010, things started to fall apart. Sandro Rosell and later Bartomeu took over. At first, results masked the rot. The 2015 treble under Luis Enrique was dazzling. The MSN trio looked unstoppable. But behind the scenes, the cracks were growing. Bartomeu's leadership saw reckless spending and short-sighted decisions. Over 400 million euros was spent on Coutinho, Dembélé, and Griezmann, none of whom lived up to expectations. The club inflated its wage bill and chased star signings without building a football strategy. Then came the collapse. The 8-2 loss to Bayern Munich in 2020 was more than a defeat. It was an exposure. Messi wanted out. Fans revolted. The financial situation spiraled out of control. Eventually, Bartomeu resigned. Barcelona was broken, and once again, it was Joan Laporta who answered the call. Laporta is now in the middle of one of the most difficult balancing acts in modern football. On one side, he's rebuilding the club. On the other hand, he's making risky financial moves that some say could backfire in the long term. Selling future TV rights, giving away large shares of club assets, betting big on commercial deals. These are high-stakes plays. Then there's the Negreira case, the scandal involving alleged payments to a former referee official. While Laporta denies any wrongdoing, the shadow of controversy looms large. But so far, the results are speaking. Barça is competing again. The youth system is back to producing gems. The stadium is under renovation. The debt is finally being addressed. And above all, the club feels alive again. Of course, challenges remain. Laporta still faces pressure from UEFA investigations, questions around financial sustainability, and the need to deliver consistently at the highest level. But one thing is clear, under his leadership, Barcelona is no longer sinking. It is fighting. And for a club that defines itself by more than just football, that's everything. Joan Laporta is not your typical club president. He's part politician, part showman, part visionary. Twice he has taken over when the club was in crisis. Twice he has made bold, risky moves. And twice he has been the face of hope. But as the modern football world gets more ruthless, more corporate, and more driven by money, can Laporta's charisma and instinct still compete? Only time will tell.